Right. So this video isn't going to really be as well edited as my other ones. I wish it was, but I'm going to be real. I can't be asked. So this is mostly just going to be me correcting myself over the little things that I technically got wrong in terms of how obviously I couldn't know everything with the untranslated works. So I'm comparing it to what we now have. Simple as. All right, let's go. Fighting as per usual. Now this one literally doesn't take rocket science, so I'm not even going to have myself check this. Go in Laverta, everybody retreats. Okay, pretty typical stuff. Utena comes up with a plan. What's that plan? I have no fucking idea. In context, I wouldn't have known at the time. So obviously this is around when she actually gets to the store and she provokes Imitatio. Okay. And she gathers some of the love potion. Okay, here's the first interesting little prediction I decided to go for. I technically was spoiled of this beforehand, so you'll have to bear with me on this one. But my assumption was that they were going to use said love potion on Magenta. I think that was a very safe assumption, and I had no idea what else was gonna happen. Technically, I knew what was happening because I got spoiled like a dumbass, but I don't know. At the time, I could only guess, and really, I knew that the love potion was going to be used for something. I just wasn't certain of what and how it would affect Magenta. I mean, yeah, it was kind of obvious. I don't exactly need rocket science to know that, yeah, that's what's going on here. So, correct. I believe I do skip ahead a lot, but generally speaking, they technically did go over a plan, and then that's what leads to this next segment where she now has that new Schiavo. So let's get to that next prediction. New Schiavo. I didn't make a prediction for what the Schiavo would do, so... Wait, no, actually I did do one. It's a prediction. I think it's going to spew more some of the love potion. It didn't. Technically, it did use some of the love potion, I think, but it didn't come from the Schiavo itself. It seemed to come from more of the other miniature Schiavos that came with it. So, technically I was wrong. And now that I've actually managed to read the full thing in English, my understanding is that how the Schiavo works is quite simply, it grabs sulfur and azul, and effectively, it injects the love potion into Magenta, which now makes her super horny. But then here's the thing, of course. She now makes it a punishment game by putting this little bird on her, which I guess is a whistle in this context, and if she does it 3 times,
this nigga gonna die.
She's serious about this too. Strangely, I never made an observation about that part, but to be fair, that's because I wouldn't have really known what it meant, so yes. I had to assume, but yeah, it says that it's gonna spew some of the love potion, but that's not what it did. So, then Magenta goes something, I think? No, this is so obviously an attempt to transform into her Laverta. And then I just add a random joke of Magenta wanting to become king of the pirates. Let's not even worry about that. A random thing I noticed, because I don't think it's all that important, but I noticed that the heart thing, the heart hair gloss thing that she has on her hair, they actually flipped where it's supposed to be, because typically it's always on her left side, but for some reason they actually flipped it so that now it's on her right side instead. Yeah, I don't fully get the logic on that either, but yes, that is a change I noticed. I promise you I wasn't trying to hyperfixate over this shit. It literally was just the case that I coincidentally noticed that she didn't have boots for the latter half of 51 for some reason. And then somehow that part of my brain decided it was also a good time to do 52 as well. Yeah, I don't get it either. Right, back to it. And then I think as well at this stage, the Schiavo was doing something to them. And my assumption was that the Schiavo likely has something close to being a trauma bond. If you know how trauma bonds work, basically when she feels pleasure, they do, and when she feels pain, they do. That type of thing, kind of. I had an assumption that the real Magenta was shining in at this moment. I can't tell because remember, I have yet to read the English script, and I'm not gonna read it until the official thing comes out, so you'll have to bear with me while we wait for that, but my assumption was that a tiny bit of her was starting to shine through. Yeah, it's 100% possible that she's shining through a little bit, but I can't say for certain. I think near the end is where she's technically starting to shine through, but in the moment, which I think at this stage was mostly when she was starting to hesitate a little, I think that technically was a little bit of Magenta in there. That's just my assumption though. Yeah, these two are on the ropes because I believe they had like a razor leaf thing. Yeah, them leaves be crazy. And then my assumption was at this stage that a confession was going to be forced. I mean, think about it really. Dark Laverta Magenta seems like the type of character that really truly it's like would be a hard truth, because think about it. This is the real Magenta. At least that's the headcanon Creep-chan had, and is also one that I have. I'm of the personal opinion, mostly because of Creep-chan's one, and I do agree with it, that this Magenta, in the same way that Ugly Flower of Lust Baiser is essentially just Baiser's lust at its most extreme form, this too is Magenta's desires, I think her kink actually, in its deepest, craziest form. Because I imagine her wanting to take care of her teammates, that's still there, obviously, but now with a more lewd twist because of the dark magic inside her. So that is why she's like this. And is still on their side because it's pretty much a mixture of Magenta and Baiser. Kind of a love child, if that makes sense. That's why I was assuming, and as for why I was predicting Sulfur, the reason's pretty obvious if you've been following the story, but I was thinking it was going to be a case that Baiser was going to eventually force a confession out of Sulfur, or something like that. Because maybe she suspected those two have a connection. Although to be fair, there technically is no reason for that, but nonetheless, I feel like it would have weirdly made sense for Sulfur to do a confession here anyways. That's just my line of thinking. Then I messed with Baiser going for a kill shot, because I was thinking, oh nah, she about to go all in. I don't think I could show the exact thing I'm referring to, but just use your imagination, right? Then I was like, then I make a Kanye joke, and then here's my educated guess, which I already elaborated on earlier. Okay? Then, at this point, there's a random constellation, and, well, yeah, that's pretty much where it ends, because the story ends with her about to transform into something else. We don't know what it is, but we can assume it's going to be her new Laverta, her actual one this time. So, I guess I'll have to give my opinions here and now. I'm mixed. I like the part where Baiser just pulls up to Michiko's workplace transformed, like not a care in the world. She just waltzes on in, buys some stuff, and this is just enough to provoke her and they get into that fight. It was a good joke. I like this part. I don't know though. Getting rid of Dark Laverta this quickly is a little crazy though. Like, I feel like in the least this should have been used as a way to build Sulfur and Magenta's relationship even more. I don't know if like the Seo relationship would change that much because of, so this too is love. Or maybe she could become a weird little wingman that helps these two get together. I don't know. I just think there was absolutely a lot more avenues they could have gone with for Dark Laverta Magenta when it comes to the team dynamic they all have with each other. I don't think it has to be a case that she has to do much when it comes to Baiser and co. That's fine. I don't mind that not being the case, but I feel like in the least it should have had more of a connection between that of, you know, Magenta and Sulfur, and maybe Seo helping these two get together through so this too is love principle. Does that make sense? So yeah, I'm curious what this transformation is going to be, and I really do hope this isn't the end of exploring this deeper, darker side of Magenta, because that would really suck. So for right now, I can't really give a final opinion, surprisingly. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm going to wait on that translation. I'm sure it's going to be great. Goodbye. If you want me to change my opinion on this, even translated, it's the same way. I definitely understand a lot more now, obviously, because I can actually read the chapter this time. But generally speaking, I wouldn't say my opinions changed all too much in comparison. I still think this would be way too early to end it if that's the scenario. And like, really having her friends reassure her is nice too. And hearing everything that be going on, I like what they tried here, but I feel like this is something that should have happened at least like a few chapters later, not now. Just feels too early, right? It just feels too early. And things I didn't really notice or observe, but now can because I can read in English. Yeah, she made her friends fight the Shio-chans, and that's why they didn't do that. And as for why they didn't transform into Laverta, it quite simply was because they already explained it. They disabled the Lavertas through that thing. If I didn't explain it, then hopefully I got it here. Oh, and very quickly, they made a callback to chapter 33 here as well. I didn't mention that in the script, TBH. I don't know why, I just didn't. But yes, that's pretty much the end of the video for real. My personal review, it was alright, but I'm really gonna need to see the next chapter before I give my final ranking on this. But for right now, let's say it's like a nice little 8. With the 2 mostly just being that I'm gonna be kind of disappointed if this is it. Okay, we're done. Bye bye.